What's up, guys? This is EJ Holland with the Wolverine.com, and we are back with another Michigan recruiting report. We're going to talk about 5 key targets I saw on the road this past week. But before we do, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel for free, get notifications every time we drop new videos. So again, like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel for free. And if you want even more Michigan recruiting intel, now is the perfect time to subscribe to the Wolverine.com. We have a special promo code just for you here on YouTube. Use the promo code UM1. That's $1 for 2 months over at the Wolverine.com. Again, use that promo code UM1. That gets you all your latest intel on Bryce Underwood, other flip targets. The portal's coming up here soon. So now is the perfect time to take advantage. Just $1 for 2 months. Use the promo code UM1 over at the Wolverine.com. All right, guys. So like I said, we're going to be talking about 5 key recruits I saw on the road this past week. And we're going to start off with Michigan commit Andrew Oles. And that's a big one, right? We've been talking about Andrew Oles quite a bit on our live shows and things of that nature over on the Wolverine.com. Yes, he's committed to Michigan. He's one of Michigan's highest rated recruits, the number 71 overall prospect in the country, but he is taking other visits. He made a visit to Alabama earlier in this fall, but Alabama is now out of this recruitment. They landed another tight end, so they're filled up. So the contenders here are Oregon, Penn State, and Notre Dame. So Penn State is the home state school. They've gotten him on campus a few times over the last year, including once this fall. I think that, with them being closer to home and Oles's father having gone to Penn State, they're definitely in the mix. Notre Dame just had him on campus for a visit as well. They're trying to hang around. But the school I'm probably most concerned about is Oregon. I think Oregon's done a really good job of recruiting him down the stretch. It is further away from home. That's a long flight from PA to the Pacific Northwest. But I do think that, again, their staff has done a really good job of recruiting him, showing him how he would be utilized in the offense. I think they've kind of shown him that they have a plan at the quarterback position. We talked a little bit about Dante Moore, actually. So I think that Oregon is the biggest threat. They've already hosted him for a visit this fall, and they're getting his last visit. They are set to get him back for an official visit on November 30 with the way Oregon plays NIL as well. It's a little scary, I think it's going to be really, really important to keep Oles in the class, and we'll see how it goes moving forward. But I'm a big Oles fan. He didn't play very much when I saw him. He suffered an injury. But I think, again, he's one of the best in the class. Very important to keep him. All right, let's go ahead and talk about a 5-star target in the 2026 recruiting class, and that is Emmanuel Ahono. And Manny, as we will call him, Manny is so impressive on the hoof, man. He's 6'7", 350 pounds, and he looks like an absolute monster. He's ranked as a 5-star, the number 3 overall recruit in the country in 2026. Just a big, strong, physical kid that has so much upside, comes from a basketball background. He's only been playing football for a few years. The sky's the limit. Like, he went from a guy that was an unknown and not even ranked to a 5-star number 3 player in the country kind of overnight this spring. So, he kind of joked with me that he's still green to this recruiting process. He's still trying to figure it out. So he goes to a prep school in the DMV, and they have a lot of Saturday games. So he hasn't really visited anywhere. Like, that's why Penn State, which is closer to home, has the lead on the RPM. Maryland's next, and then Virginia Tech. Obviously, those schools aren't landing him. But I think it shows that Ahono is just wide open with his recruitment early on because he's still getting familiar. I think the thing that works in favor for Michigan is that, much like Andrew Babalola, he really values academics. He's a great player on the field, but he's also a terrific student in the classroom. Georgetown Prep is a very rigorous private school in the DMV, similar to Gonzaga and Kinoa Winston, who we'll talk about here in a bit. So yeah, I think that Ahono is that type of 5-star that could land at Michigan, much like Andrew Babalola this cycle. He did tell me he talks to Grant Newsome regularly, and he's planning to make a visit to Michigan this offseason. All right, let's flip over to the defensive side of the ball and talk about on 300 edge Carter Meadows. So I think, Michigan's done a great job of recruiting Gonzaga, which is one of the premier schools in the DMV. Obviously, Michigan was able to land Evan Link a couple of cycles ago. They landed Kinoa Winston this cycle. And so in 2026, they're definitely working hard on Carter Meadows. They offered him this fall. He was on campus for the game against USC. I think having Kinoa Winston committed is definitely helping Michigan out. Obviously, a great track record of producing pass rushers as well. So, yeah, I really like what Michigan's done with Meadows early on. They're up there on the RPM with Penn State and Pitt. But, yeah, I think that Michigan is certainly in the mix. He's a tall, long edge with a lot of upside, has been a steady climber in the rankings, which is no surprise. He's another kid that comes from an AAU basketball background, really needs to add some weight and strength to his frame, but super athletic, super long. Again, a lot of upside when it comes to Carter Meadows. And he's not the only recruit at Gonzaga that we're going to talk about today. Of course, we have to talk about on 300 Michigan safety commit, Kinoa Winston. Look, I think a lot of people are sleeping on Kinoa Winston. He's not very active on social media. He doesn't do a ton of interviews. And that's largely because he goes to Gonzaga. I mean, he has to focus on academics. He's a strong student in the classroom. It's a rigorous private school. And he's also just completely bought in to his team, which is really cool to see. I mean, watching Gonzaga over the weekend, you can tell the guys really rally around Kinoa Winston, but he's such a fun player on the back end. I mean, he's a Swiss Army knife that can line up as a safety, as a nickel. He comes up and plays in the box. He's only about 5'10", but he plays much bigger than his size. He likes to get violent. He likes to get physical. I mean, he's more physical than some of the defensive linemen and linebackers that Michigan has recruited. Like, it's crazy how much he wants to strike the opposition and how much he really enjoys playing in the box despite his lack of height. I think that Winston is just a compact missile. He's really, again, a really fun player, and on special teams as well. He'll play right away at Michigan solely because of his ability on special teams. He's a guy that can fly down the field on kickoff, but he's awesome at blocking kicks and punts. He almost got one this weekend. He almost got one the last time I saw him play. So I think he'll be a special teams demon early on in his career, and he can play in the defensive backfield early on as well. So I think, again, Kinoa is one of the more slept on recruits in the class. I feel like, he's right up there, probably my second ranked recruit in the class behind Shamari Earls on the defensive side of the ball. So yeah, a lot to like about Kinoa Winston. And lastly, we'll talk about another DMV defensive back, this time in the 2026 recruiting class, Hakeem Satte out of Washington, D.C., St. John's. So much like I talked about with Iheanacho, Satterwhite goes to a private school in the DMV. They play a lot of Saturday games, so he hasn't been able to see a lot of schools. In fact, I asked Satterwhite, where have you been this fall? And he was like, nowhere. He can't go to any games because all his games are on Saturdays. But he told me Michigan's high on his list. He talks to Lamar Morgan all the time. He's looking to make a visit really soon. Really intriguing corner at 6'1", 175, can continue to bulk up, but plays with really good technique. Didn't allow any catches when I saw him on Saturday afternoon. He's ranked as a top 300 player. I think he is kind of in that range, but really quality cornerback prospect to keep an eye on in 2026. I do think he'll make that visit to Michigan at some point this offseason. So those are 5 key recruits I saw on the road this past week. I'll be back on the road on Friday night for an exciting one, so you won't want to miss the coverage over at thewolverine.com. Remember to subscribe using that promo code UM1. That's $1 for 2 months over at thewolverine.com. So get even more Michigan recruiting intel and discussion over there. And also make sure to like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel for free. Get notifications every time we drop new videos. And I will see you guys next week.